Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price this Monday, as yesterday we came just shy of the $58,353 resistance level with a candle high of 57,839. But I want to address some of these bearish tails that we've seen over the last few days. And of course, we've already had 1 and 2 red candles inside of this range of 53,000 up to 58,353. Those are some big puzzle pieces, because with altcoins seeing a dump due to Bitcoin dominance moving above this 100-day moving average, looking like it wants to come and test the 200-day moving average, and above the 20-week moving average, which is the most important puzzle piece that we're going to talk about today. That tells me that we are seeing the early signs of a shift in this market cycle, and that we could potentially be seeing Ethereum and other altcoins not perform as well as Bitcoin over the next few weeks and possibly into the next few months, with Ethereum's weekly candle closing red. Of course, that's also a big puzzle piece. I resetted our previous weekly opens on our chart, by the way. That's always going to be on green for those tuned into the Snipers channel. And so with Bitcoin sitting at 57,000 right now, for those inside of our Discord, we already took a short position at 57,470. It's already hit 3 targets down to 56,770. We have the best cryptocurrency trade signals in this market, and our Discord community has been blowing up with this price action. Notice how even right now we're seeing charts get posted, which tells me that a lot of people are paying attention to this price action. The question is, what is the next move? And I want to talk about exactly what we're watching here on the intraday chart for Bitcoin. Let's just go into the 6-hour chart. First and foremost, we've yet to see some real crazy volume come in. We still have this descending buy volume that we've been watching. That's been a concern because we have bearish divergence with price action forming these higher highs. And of course, as I mentioned from the start of this video, we do have some bearish tails on these daily candles that have recently formed. And that's telling me that we're starting to see some weakness at these higher levels above 53,000. But because we are still heading towards 58,353, what walks like a duck and what quacks like a duck 8 out of 10 times is a duck. And until we are proven otherwise, we have to look at what the potential upside targets here are going to be for Bitcoin. That's why you want to be in and out of those short positions. And so 58,353 is the major resistance for Bitcoin right now. But we have to take into account what's happening outside of Bitcoin in the other revolving parts of this market, because with altcoins showing weakness, Ethereum certainly also showing some weakness here. That's a big puzzle piece. And I've been telling you guys, with Bitcoin dominance moving up, what does that mean? Well, it typically means that institutions that have capital inside of altcoins are possibly going to be hedging their positions back into Bitcoin in expectation of some downside. And because Bitcoin is a larger market cap, it will most likely, if not guaranteed, nothing's a guarantee, see less downside than these altcoins. So that's why people move into Bitcoin, or at least the smart money does. And so that's what we're going to be monitoring here right now. And if we go into this 3-hour chart, we can start getting some hints as to why the price action is showing some weakness at these higher levels above 53,000. That's why we're seeing these continuous pockets of sell pressure just kind of arise here for Bitcoin. And as this buy volume is increasing, notice how the sell pressure is also increasing. So with Bitcoin right now trying to get to 58,353, we have to realize this. If we can break 58,353, that tells me that not only is Bitcoin potentially going to come up and test its previous all-time highs at 64,855, but the total cryptocurrency market cap is going to potentially break into new all-time highs. We're going to look at that in just a second. But if at any point in time we start to see the rug get pulled, the weekly open right now is what we're going to be watching as a major support level. And that's going to be sitting right at that $54,800 level. This weekly open is going to be a major puzzle piece into the next few days as we head into this week, because this is really the only area of support that we can watch. You can see it's showing confluence right now with the 50-period moving average on the 3-hour chart. And so the first scenario is we break 58,353, the likelihood that we come and test the previous all-time high becomes high. But if at any point we come down and test this $54,800 level and we see hourly and 4-hour candles break below this level, I believe that Bitcoin does have a potential of coming down to 49,700 to retest this previous market structural resistance, which will now turn into support, and the $49,700 major support level. So that's certainly on the table as a scenario for the downside. And keep in mind, if we see downside with Bitcoin dominance moving up, altcoins will bleed, especially if Bitcoin dominance continues up. That's actually why Bitcoin dominance typically goes up. It's because altcoins are bleeding when there's downside. And so we really want to monitor 49,700 if we start to see the rug get pulled at any point, which is why we are just open to short positions right now. We're still taking long positions. Today, our analysts decided to take some long positions on Yearn.finance, Linear Token, Omisco, and they've hit targets. But we are also now starting to take short positions. You can see yesterday we shorted Flamingo, Theta. I shorted Tezos, Ethereum. Of course, we took a long on that 2 days ago. And so right now we're in a very dynamic place. And so if we were to pull up this 3-day chart, I want to actually pull this up because something interesting is also happening here on this 3-day chart. Notice how on the 3-day chart we have this 100-period moving average crossing above this 50-period moving average. That's a very interesting thing. And right now, this 100-period moving average is sitting at the monthly open at 44,000 US dollars. So remember, when Bitcoin does come down, it likes to take the elevator down. And so as much as 49,700 is an important level, realize that volume in this area has been cleared out. And so the other concern is if we see downside, we could possibly even go lower than 49,700 pretty quickly. And so I think that that's also something important to mention, especially if we come down and test 49,700. Who's saying that we can't come down lower? Because if we go on the daily chart, notice how this 50-period moving average is actually below 49,700. And if Bitcoin is correlated to the S&P 500, which is the largest traditional market worth, $50+ trillion, and this market is actually below the 100-day moving average, which we're going to get into in just a second when we look at the 4-dimensional aspect of the outside environment, then who's saying that Bitcoin can't also go below this 100-day moving average if they're correlated in any sort of way? And if that was the case, that means Bitcoin could potentially, if it were to just copy the S&P 500, come down to the monthly open at 44,000, where we also have that 50-period moving average on, or the 100-period moving average on the 3-day chart, and the 100-period moving average on the daily chart. So both of those 100-period moving averages are showing confluence at this monthly open, which I thought was pretty interesting to just throw out there as a puzzle piece. Now, what's happening here to the altcoins? Because obviously they're seeing weakness against Bitcoin. I had a few very high-level clients call me today and say, man, I'm so glad I moved into Bitcoin. What are you expecting now that altcoins are actually dumping? Because they realized that we were right about Bitcoin dominance. We were one of the only channels saying that Bitcoin dominance was in the early stages of reversal on September 6th when we saw the lower high form. And so interestingly enough, we've yet to break that lower high in the total cryptocurrency market cap chart, which tells me that, and this is a macro, aspect, because a lower high is something that's gonna stay on the macro. We've sort of double top. I mean, we could say that maybe we broke it by a few cents or whatever it might be, but so far we have not broken this lower high in the total market cap. So just because Bitcoin has broken the lower high, we haven't broken it on the total market cap. So before we run and say there's going to be new all-time highs in this total market, why are we sort of, showing weakness here before breaking this lower high that formed on September 6th? Another puzzle piece here for the total market cap chart. Once again, the only reason I'd expect Bitcoin dominance to move up is the total market cap moving down. So this is something we really want to monitor this week at this resistance level. It's going to be important to watch that total market cap chart, because the reason it hasn't formed that new high above the lower high, but Bitcoin has, is because altcoins are moving into Bitcoin. And that would only happen if there's fear, in my opinion. If they're moving into Bitcoin, we want to go where the hockey puck is going, not where it's currently at. And it's obvious right now that institutions, because they're the ones that control the market, as much as retail loves the market, institutions control it. It's clear that the hockey puck is in a place where they're moving altcoins into Bitcoin in expectation of something. Question is, what is that something? Is it a dump, or is it a new bull cycle, which means Bitcoin sees strength for a few months, Bitcoin dominance moves up, total market cap moves up, altcoins kind of go linear, go horizontal before altcoins then have another cycle? That's another scenario that's potentially on the table, but is that really the most likely scenario with the strength of the US dollar moving to the upside? And we know what happened in 2018 when Bitcoin and the US dollar were fighting against each other. US dollar won, and as it moved up from 2018 to 2019, Bitcoin dropped. So is that the more likely scenario with this US dollar strength moving up? Who knows? If Bitcoin dominance is going to come back below its 20-week moving average, that would potentially also assume the DXY and the strength of the dollar comes below its 20-week moving average, but it hasn't been below it since June. So I think that would be a tough prediction for those that are expecting that, just based on what the markets are currently doing. That's why in my talk yesterday, which I'll post soon, I said the reason correlations are so important, like the way Bitcoin dominance is correlated to the DXY, is because money just moves in the market. And that's why this is a 4-dimensional channel. We look at all of the financial markets because money moves around. And the importance of correlations is that typically if there's an asset that's correlated with another asset, or we can just say if there's a chart that's correlated with another chart, and we start to see capital move into that asset, but the correlated asset has yet to make the move, that's where you can predict what's going to happen to the asset that has yet to see the money flow to it. And so money just moves around. It can't go to two places at once, but if we know there's a correlated asset, then we can predict what's going to happen to the asset based on the correlated asset, right? And because money moves from one asset to another, it can't just go to two places at once. And that's why correlations are the best way to predict things in the market based on the patterns of the past. Now, what is happening with all of this craziness with altcoins and Bitcoin dominance? Well, the chart that shows all the altcoins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum coming back down to the 100-day moving average, very bearish right now, below the weekly and monthly open. That's a big puzzle piece. So everything is just confirming and strengthening the thesis that we've had on this channel. I think one of the strongest and boldest predictions we've had as of recent has been Bitcoin dominance moving above the 20-week moving average. Now, the revolving parts outside the cryptocurrency market are still not looking good. The S&P 500 back below the 100-day moving average. There's another puzzle piece for you. We look at Japan, the second largest traditional market, still below all daily moving averages. That's not a good puzzle piece. We look at the DXY, still showing strength, looking like it wants to break into new yearly highs. That's not a good puzzle piece. Here's an interesting thing that I'd like to show you. If we pull up silver against Bitcoin, this is a puzzle piece for the bulls. Notice how we actually just broke new lows. And this is huge because we actually predicted the top for Bitcoin watching gold against Bitcoin. Notice how if I were to take this horizontal line, the strength of Bitcoin actually right now, today, just broke below the previous lows in April when Bitcoin topped out on April 14th. That's a very interesting puzzle piece. It hasn't done that with gold against Bitcoin, but silver against Bitcoin, it has done that. So that's an interesting thing to just keep in mind. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning into the channel today. I do want to quickly show you guys Ethereum to Bitcoin. This is a big deal. It has already moved below 65,000 Satoshis. And as a leading indicator for most altcoins, that to me is also not a good thing. Below the 200-day moving average right now. That shows us that altcoins are potentially going to be seeing weakness now against Bitcoin with the next target at 53,500 Satoshis. So none of this has been new for those that have been tuning to the Snipers channel. Of course, once again, we're going to be monitoring the charts as always. For those inside of the Discord, you'll be getting the signals as they come. Let's see if we're going to have to take another short position or if we're going to see a breakout and we'll have to take more long positions. But on the daily chart, once again, I'm quite concerned that we have all these bearish wicks here at these higher levels above 53,000. I think that that's showing a sign of weakness in this range. And that's it for today. Thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel today. Until next time, Snipers out.